What's up, everybody? Sean and D-Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys have yourselves a great week. We are back with another episode of the Auburn podcast channel, and the SEC tournament is here. Auburn doesn't play until Friday, but I figured this would be a good opportunity to go ahead and get this video out, kind of predicting how far I think Auburn will advance in the SEC tournament. Right now, the AP poll came out the other day. Whether you pay attention to that or not, Auburn is now number 3 in the country. Doesn't necessarily matter now because all that matters is where you're seated in the NCAA tournament. A lot of people are kind of curious on if Auburn's going to keep their number 1 overall seed, which means that would put Auburn in Lexington for the first 2 rounds and then Atlanta for the next 2 rounds. So I'm pretty sure even if Auburn was the 2nd overall number 1 seed, I believe they would go to Raleigh, North Carolina for the first 2 rounds and then to Atlanta for the next 2 rounds. At least I think that's right, but in my opinion, Auburn should be the number 1 overall seed regardless of how things shape out on this upcoming weekend with Auburn and SEC tournament. They should be the number 1 overall seed going into the NCAA tournament. The body of work, the resume, it's all there. It's not even close. And if Duke somehow becomes the number 1 overall seed, you definitely gonna have to question some bias and stuff like that. I've already been kind of doing that as well with the whole National Player of the Year because Cooper Flagg has been getting listen, he's a talented basketball player. That nobody's arguing that, but you're looking at the ACC, who potentially is going to have 4 teams in the tournament. Compared that to the SEC, who potentially is going to have anywhere from 12 to 14 teams, probably 12, depending on how things go in the tournament. It's not even close. So it is what it is. But other than that, other Auburn basketball things, Bruce Pearl got SEC Coach of the Year. Janai Broome got SEC Player of the Year. Denver Jones, I believe, was first team All SEC defense. Todd Pettiford was he made the freshman All-American team for the SEC. And then Chad Baker-Mazara, I think he made third team. I think he made third team SEC. So some acolytes to go around for everybody, but obviously this team they have their eyes on a bigger prize, and that's a national title in San Antonio. But first off, we got to get things going here with the SEC. The SEC tournament kicks off later tonight with a few games. So this is what the bracket looks like heading into tonight's start of the SEC tournament. Auburn will play the winner of either Arkansas it depends. So tonight you have Arkansas and South Carolina, and whoever wins that plays Ole Miss, and then they'll play Auburn on Friday. Auburn, I'm pretty much just going to get the opening slate of games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So whereas some of these teams are going to be playing at night, and it's could be a little bit tricky for a lot of these teams when they're trying to make a deep run into the SEC tournament. But Auburn's path is going to be interesting because if they can get past Ole Miss or even Arkansas, now I see some people saying they maybe want Arkansas because Arkansas would be on their 3rd game in 3 days. Same could be said for South Carolina if somehow they manage to beat Ole Miss, beat Arkansas, and play Auburn, where you're coming in rested, ready to go, a healthy Denver Jones, a 100% healthy Janai Broome. And then you look at who you could play on Saturday. More likely, you're going to be looking at either Texas A&M or Tennessee. You beat Tennessee, you lost to Texas A&M. Both these teams play a very physical style of defense, so these two probably are going to wear each other out. And whoever wins that will play Auburn in the semifinal. That Auburn could potentially, make it to the championship on Sunday. If you look at who they may face, unless some crazy things happen in the SEC tournament, you're going to be looking at either a rematch with Florida or a potential third game with Alabama. Now, I don't know who all wants that, who's all interested in that, at least from the Alabama aspect, because I think a lot of people, not particularly the game this past Saturday, felt like a Final Four type of game. And if anything, you would hope that maybe these teams will meet again in a deep run, maybe in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. But I could see potentially, I can see the Florida-Alabama game going either way. Kentucky could upset Alabama. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Kentucky kept it close the first time they played earlier this season. I could potentially see Kentucky winning that game also. Missouri has been playing some pretty good basketball, but Florida is just a different team for sure this season. And I've seen some people, not some, but there was maybe like one person on Twitter who was like, Florida should be, I think maybe it was, I don't think it was Danny Cannell. I can't remember who it was, but somebody said that Florida should be the number one overall seed. And no, that's stupid. It's not. Well, it's not stupid. They played some really good teams, but again, Auburn's resume is much better. Their quad 1 wins much better. Their quad 2 wins are much better compared to a lot of the other teams that is vying for a number 1 overall seed. So what do I think? Last year, Auburn won the SEC tournament. The previous year, they got bounced in the first round, I think. Yeah, I think they got bounced in the first round. This team should. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword because one, you haven't played in almost a week, except for like some light workout, light practice kind of stuff. But you also are going to be relatively rested. And that was the thing, too, going on the stretch. Listen, I know Auburn lost back-to-back games, but it's a tough season. You're playing – this conference was a lot tougher than a lot of people thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season. And it was a grind for sure throughout the SEC conference season. But Auburn's going to be rested, ready to go. Because, like, some people are like, they don't really care about winning the SEC title. I'm either or. I don't necessarily care as much. Like, if we win it, that's great. If not, I want a national title. My eyes want to be on that national title. But it'd be nice. It would be nice to have another hang a banner in Neville. Yeah, of course. So I do think. I think it's more likely going to be Ole Miss. And Auburn's already beaten Ole Miss twice this season, one in Oxford, one in Neville. If it is Ole Miss, Auburn should win that game. If I had to choose on who I would rather see between Tennessee and Texas A&M, probably Texas A&M, even though Bruce's record against Buzz Williams is not great. I could go either way because either way you're going to be playing a low-scoring, physical kind of game. So I honestly could go either way with those two. But I do think Auburn, them being rested, them having, ready to be hungry for more. Because right now, listen, you're number 3 in the country. A lot of people are starting to doubt you because you've lost back-to-back games towards the end of the season. A lot of people feel like, this team is kind of backsliding. They peaked too early. And I remember it's like maybe Taylor Quorum was the next round. And I think she got the stats from somebody else. But, like, Auburn plays relatively well away from Neville. And a lot of that is that they like to take that villain mentality and like they like being the bad guys. They like all these opposing arenas being packed out just to see Auburn lose. And a lot of them embrace that. And so this is going to be a neutral site game. A lot of people still, it's a top 3 Auburn team. A lot of people want to add that little caveat into their resume because we get Selection Sunday pretty much right after the SEC tournament game. So we'll just have to just see how things play out, honestly. But I do think Auburn will make it to the SEC championship on Sunday. I think they will more than likely play Florida. And if that's the case, I think Auburn actually will beat Florida. Even though it's a bad matchup, I think they can learn some things that happened in the first time around. I do like Auburn winning the SEC tournament championship and solidifying a number 1 overall seed. I think even if they lose on Saturday or on Sunday in the championship game, maybe even Saturday, but I do think if they make it to Sunday and they play a tight, close game against whoever and maybe just ultimately lose, I still think Auburn is the number 1 overall seed. Like it's just the resume is so good. And you can't deny that. But I think Auburn will win the SEC tournament. I think they'll more likely play Florida. And then we'll see how things go with Selection Sunday after. I will probably either have a video out in regards to Selection Sunday, or I may even do a live stream. We'll see. That is potential. I haven't fully decided on it just yet, but that is just something I'm thinking about. But that's pretty much it. I want to do a quick little video, give my thoughts about the SEC tournament now that it's officially here. Games kick off later today. Auburn plays on Friday. But other than that, guys, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure you comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.